you, thank you, thank you. No, that's not embarrassing. I had an autopsy done on Moses. The cops have said that Moses committed suicide. I'm sure we all heard that. The autopsy revealed that he did not commit suicide. Hallelujah. We got work to do, that's all I can
say. When the issues of Liberia hit the news,
what is it that we, the Liberian people, want?
The Liberian communities in the diasporas are not left out. That's why Diaspora Talk is back on your screens on KMTV.
In fact, the United Party is not cohesive.
It's social, political, economic, and other issues affecting Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
I did not expect to even make it to Hollywood.
Join Cyrus McGee and Nathan Charles every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on KMTV, Facebook, and YouTube.
I want to be arrested in the midst of my people.
As they discuss the issues, blending the voices from Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
The Liberian Business Association in the diaspora should be used as a vehicle for economic development in Liberia because no country can develop without a diaspora impact.
For sponsorship, call cell numbers 612-806-5896, 816-433-3979, or better still, email us at usakmtv@gmail.com. Diaspora Talk, turn this out. Welcome to another fascinating edition of Diaspora Talk right here on KMTV, Liberia's premier online television. We are everywhere. That's why we are right here on this network every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at about this time. And today is Monday. It happens to be the 17th day of the great month of October, AD 2022. My name is Cyrus McGee, sitting right here pretty tight, presenting this edition of Diaspora Talk, but I'm not alone. Though I'm alone in studio today, but I'm not alone on the show because my colleague Nathan Charles is joining me. Val, the power of technology. Good morning or good afternoon, Nathan. I don't know why I always think about this time being the morning. I'm so used to the morning show as a presenter, but good afternoon, bro.
Good afternoon, Cyrus, and let's say hats up to all our viewers there in and around the world.
And how is it on your end this afternoon? It's Monday, the first working day of the week. As a matter of fact, after a very hectic weekend indeed, we are back here to give our people what they deserve.
Yes, the weekend was indeed filled of work. As you know, we had our national duty to perform. Also, today is Monday. I'm now in studio getting ready for a major state national exam for my real estate.
Real estate,
yeah, you have to pass the state. So I'm home currently studying at 4 o'clock today. I'll be 2 hours test. It's not easy, 100 and some more questions. So I'm currently getting ready for it. But I got to perform duty to inform our audience. So I'm here.
And as duty bearers, we have to do what we have so that, we keep our people informed of the happenings. And bro, we had a lot of commendation, man, from all over for what we did over the weekend. We just felt that it was something that we needed to do for somebody we all interacted with, somebody who took the Liberian flag so high when it comes to singing and promoting our country on the international scene. The late Pastor Moses Soiree, we were there on Friday night. It was a night of emotion. I don't know. You go first, Nathan. Tell us. Sitting in that place on Friday night. Probably you just need to give your own ones and twos. Let's hear you.
I start first. It was my first time seeing you to cry. Joy 11:35. Jesus wept.
You see that? You see your laugh.
I mean, yeah, I saw all of the camera crew. I saw Victor, what his name, Victor Jones, wiping his ears as he holding his camera. I saw Jessica, who was doing a live. She was wiping her tears. I saw you two wiping your tears.
Joseph, when your guy was also on cameras there. It was emotional, bro. It was very, very much emotional. It was emotional. I know, to respect the family's privacy, we cannot just display the body of Moses over here on this platform at about this time. We did that during the wake and funeral because people needed to know. But the family asked that nobody, take private pictures and all of that. So we decided to respect that. We cannot display here, how he looked like in the casket. But from your own viewing, tell us, man, what was it like for you?
Uh, it was a reflection of life, how I should live my life on this earth. Life what is meaningless if you cannot impact other people. So his life he lived speaks for him. I saw people from all walks of life who reflected their interaction with Moses and his kids. His connection with his kids was also revealed there. His family, his church, the musical union, how he brought people together, he helped motivate people. Even myself, listening to his song, Keep on Trying, Your Time Will Come. And today I can look back and say, yes, indeed, life is a stage. So it was indeed sorrowful, but some people say, yes, he will continue to live in our hearts. And we saw the young man lie in casket. He was looking so peaceful, looking like Moses we knew, all dressed up. But one thing he left on the memories of everyone is we need to live a life. And despite all of the challenges, we have to live a life that is pleasing to God. And how can we impact other people? If you listen to some of the messages or some of his big dreams, now it is upon the family, it's upon his friends or those who they have project together to fulfill that. As you know, he was very much instrumental. He helped to improve the lives of a lot of people. So Moses Soare, the name Moses Soare will forever live in the musical industry in Liberia, will forever live in the hearts of many people because his voice is still on this earth. When I left that funeral service, I kept playing that song and kept reflecting on this is life, and we need to live that life that will be pleasing and help produce or provide the opportunities for other people.
And you couldn't just put it anyway, like you said earlier on. It broke me down, knowing the person that this brother was. um um we all interacted with him, and Moses will not see you without leaving with some level of joke. He will say something funny. Like last night at the concert, they play a couple of his videos from his Facebook account. He was there joking, hanging out with his kids. But Dayton, there is nothing that caught me as compared to the fact that seeing those two babies, 7 and 8 years old, break down over their dad's casket. That gave me a sense of thinking, it would have been any of us, we
Yeah,
especially we that have kids. And I started to reflect. When they opened that casket on Friday night, you could hear the voices of his daughters. Daddy, daddy, daddy. So the first thing that came to my mind is probably these kids have not seen their dad since he
yeah.
died in July.
3 months. Yeah, because
Yeah.
yeah, on the
So
14th.
since July, they've not seen him. He died on the 14th, but we understand he
Yeah,
was fighting for his life for a couple of days before he died. And it's like their dad had gone somewhere. They all wishing for him to come back, waiting to see him back. And then for the first time, they opened that casket. It's like what I felt was they had seen him again for the first time since July, calling him in such form a minor. He could not even answer, he could not speak back to them. And then that's when you saw the 8 years old broke down in tears. That
yeah,
got me ripped into the heart, man. And then
yeah.
nobody over there with a human heart could stand without, sharing a bit of
Sharing tears.
tears. And the
I
entire
saw
night,
you sharing tears. I was like,
bro,
oh.
it got tearful, man. You know, the last time I ever cried like that was when my dad passed earlier this year, and I cried for my dad more than I can tell whenever I ever shed tears. And then that actually brought a fresh memory back to me to see Moses lying like that. And one thing I think was very beautiful, his cousin did that family blanket, which was dripping over his casket into
Yeah.
the Liberian flag. She was amazing, man. She did that
Mhm.
blanket, and it showed a person lying in that navy blue box who flew the flag so hard. That was a moment of honor, national honor for Moses. Even though we did not see leaders of the Liberian community, paying tribute on behalf of, our country or so, but that was a moment of honor for Moses. And Pastor Moses lied there, looking so speaking. The ball was a dress ball, man.
Yeah.
He was always a dress guy. And you're
And his
looking at him
shoes.
in that casket. He died
Mhm.
and he got buried as a dress ball that we all knew Moses was. And hats up to Sis Evelyn March and the Liberian Music Association here in the US. They did turn out, man. I know you missed
Yeah.
last night, but you were watching.
Oh,
That
I
church
saw
last night,
Myron.
yo,
Yeah, I saw powerful,
yeah,
powerful gospel musician,
musician
veteran.
showing up, you know.
Yeah.
And if you miss the service last night, go on KMTV. Trust me, you will have what I have not seen for a very long time. The
Because the
conglomeration
music got cantata.
Cantata. So that's what we saw. Those artists,
Yeah.
Bernice Blackie, Oxford
Yeah.
Dixon. There was another guy who performed last night called damn, I can just get his name.
Just Prince.
Just Prince. He rocked the stage. Just
Yeah.
Prince is just one of the best producers we
Yeah.
have from our community. Just Prince took on and rocked the stage, bro. We saw a very that is I've not seen such a gathering of gospel artists, you know,
Mhm.
celebrating at that level in a very long time. Moses did pull the tricks, man. He
Yeah.
did bury himself. He's gone, but not forgotten. And like somebody asked me, what's the charge? What how much the charge? How much KMTV charge to do Moses burial? Funeral service, keeping, and everything. And my response to them was Moses paid in full. And that person looked at me and said, "What? We know when we call you off for this kind of event, what you can do." And I said, Moses
Yeah.
paid in full. He paid for his coverage, his life, paid for us being out there for hours, leaving our families. On Friday night, we went home almost 1 in the morning, 1 in the morning. We're back at the church on Saturday morning
Nine
before nine
o'clock.
o'clock.
Eight. Yeah.
Yeah, and then last night with from 5 to 9, 9:30, almost 10 o'clock, we provided the coverage and he paid in full for what he did, and he was buried as a king. But one thing that remains, Nathan, just before we come to other issues, I know you have some issues on your plate, national issues that we have to talk about. Um, One thing that remained that was a broken news last night, a real breaking news was his aunt using the end of that concert for the first time to announce that there was an autopsy report from an autopsy conducted on the body of Pastor Moses. Because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, what killed Moses? What killed Moses?" At the onset, we heard that Moses killed himself. You know,
Yeah.
we heard it on
Accident.
different talk shows. Or it was an accident. Or he was by the pool, he fell in there and died. But there was a revelation last night. I know some of you saw it at the opening of the show. Some of you have probably seen it on our page from last night, from the post from last night. But we'll take a moment to play this video from his aunt.
Home in Grand Star. We sent him home like the music man he was. And glory be to God. Sis Abel have just one thing to say, and then Pastor King will give the benediction. Thank you, thank you, thank you. No, that's not in her. I had an autopsy done on Moses. The cops had said that Moses suicide. I'm sure we all heard that. The autopsy revealed that he did not commit suicide. No, that's not in there. I had an autopsy done on Moses. The cops had said that Moses committed suicide. I'm sure we all heard that. The autopsy revealed that he did not commit suicide. Hallelujah. We got work to do, that's all I can say.
Now, Nathan, you listen to that. You listen to Madam Mabel Dumba, the aunt of Moses, making that startling revelation last night. I know you want to chime in on that.
Yes, Arrow is a glaring fact that cops are not a top I got a pathologist, right? So they just gave us some preliminary findings based on what they think, what they see. But that's why this country is advanced, right?
Mhm.
And when the pathology it takes his or her signature to a report, that is at least 99.9% factual. So that's why the family did that autopsy because cop will just they are not pathology, they will just exhume, maybe look at the cuts, look at the processes, how the neck was looking. There are other steps they will look at to exhume. So it is upon the family now to go and use that autopsy report, to follow the investigation or to have, what they want done concerning what really happened. So they will also use that autopsy report as a guide in a code of competent jurisdiction to follow the case. So, but the major thing is at least they have a clue what led to his death. And autopsy is not it's not small money to pay for. So, and that's one of the issue I would say to that. So they can use that to file any claim or to further, the case with whoever they want to.
So
But
what
listen,
what do that really say to our community, Nathan? Because like I said earlier on, we had a lot of things, people saying different things. What do this really say to our community?
one is we need to rely on scientific facts, not assumption, not assume that this happened. We need to rely on scientific facts. Also, too, we need to verify information before beating our chest to it,
Yeah.
because sources, as you know, in news, sources, and what were some of the reports that were provided by media institutions, by
Mhm.
Facebook bloggers, or by social media influential. What information did they provide to the public? And the issue of spreading false information regarding somebody's death is hard. Like now, if the family come out, you can use that to say XYZ because that's a very close family member, and who revealed that it's not just an ordinary person.
And that's why we as KMTV we respected the mourning period of the family. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, with KMTV not posting anything, you're not saying anything." We did reach out to family members, but they asked
Yeah.
that at the time they rather remain quiet and mourn their loss, put acts together to bury Moses, and at an appropriate time they were going to speak. And I spoke to the aunt after the memorial. I mean the concert last night.
Mhm.
My thing to her was, you left it vague. People need to know. People need to have a close in on this. If the family is saying that Pastor Moses did not die from, you know, killing himself in our layman term, everybody's, oh, the man killed himself. And a police report, they were making direct reference to a police report that said that he had committed suicide. And now you are coming up with this startling revelation. She told me, "Sister Cyrus, we are going to speak further. We just
Yeah.
need to get some things together. We are going to speak further."
I mean, we in America, though we are in the Liberian community, but people are knowledgeable about the processes, about the laws, right? Getting good lawyers, good attorney to represent your case. How do you go about it? It's not just no, putting your pieces of evidence together and going, because guess what? Researcher will start researching everything that you did, you know, because if you go,
If you watch ID here in America, you
okay,
know these are cases. These are stories. that you see on those networks.
Yeah.
They build those stories. What happened to this person? How they died? But they climax those stories with actual facts, investigation from the point of death, the report from police, investigation done I mean through technology or science. That is what we have right now. An autopsy report. They build these things and go into the bottom of those cases before they come up with these documentaries. Unlike our community where my grandma used to say that 9 days thing. It was something I be like, bro, that 9 days. Sarah,
Yeah.
after 9 days, you not hear anything about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was America, no matter how long it would take, there
Yeah.
will be
Five
close in. For instance, on the deaths of those auditors in Liberia,
articles. Yeah. Gifty, Lamy,
Gifty Lamy and the other guy. The death of this guy who reportedly fell from his home,
Diaspora.
the form Niswa. Those are things that the people build cases on here. It may take 100 years or 75 years. They will come up with those stories to see how this person died, base their facts on investigation and report. And trust me, somebody gonna be held responsible. So leading up to Moses' death, he had just come from a power pack concert with his friends. Just a day after or two, you had this before we heard that Moses is in the hospital fighting for his life, and they had to pull the plug. You know, so I mean, he's gonna speak for himself, though he's dead. His blood gonna speak. you know, his life. People follow him. He did not just impact just our Liberian community. He impacted people around the world. And from his funeral, what people said at their funeral, it shows that this brother did,
Yeah.
impact the world.
And
And
let me just retrospect some of the things, some of the comments that was made at his funeral and wake.
I saw you at the back of the church there taking notes, trying those comments. Go ahead, have your time, bro.
Yeah. So for me, I paying attention to key points when people are speaking. The first thing was his close friend. I forget her name. She started out with how they started in school, how he was bullied as a young boy coming out, and he referred to as Jato. He used to sit in the French class. One of the French teachers know used to like him, and he still used to make his grades. And he used to ask her to steal the notes, but still he used to make his grades. But he got to the heart of most of the people, including his teacher, when he opened his mouth to sing. You see, so the girl said she used to joke him, hey, my man, when you want to tell me anything, please sing. Don't talk to me because your voice is irritating. And she started out like that. So his voice was a trump card to success. So from high school days, he was being bullied as a Jato, referred to in Liberia and the pigment people. And he went to singing, joining the choir, leading over the choir in the school. From there, and how he started to impact the ministry in the US and in Liberia, winning the Star is Born, winning a Star is Born competition, and from the United Nations mission, he was referred to as the ambassador, the peace ambassador there, going out, you coming up with his song, keep on trying, your time will come. He won the Star is Born competition, came to the US, joined the Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Pennsylvania, on Lansdowne area there. He was a music director. Even the pastor was here, Pastor Suat there. He also flew, and his wife flew over to Minneapolis. I remember when I was in New Philadelphia, he was in that church. He used to lead praise and worship and stuff like that. So we saw Suat there also reflecting how Moses. I mean, Moses got his wife from the Emmanuel Lutheran Church. He born his children there. He named them one of the kids after his wife. So you saw that he was more than a family. So Swat there reflected on how Moses was a family person and his love for God. And Moses' best friend, I just forgotten her name. She also referenced that same story of when we were in school, that how Moses' major dream, all he wanted to become was a pastor. And,
Mhm.
and all he wanted to become was a pastor, nothing else.
He told that girl when I become a pastor, I will cast demon out of you.
Uh,
So those were some of the moments, man. And he did achieve that dream. I was a witness. In fact, I covered his ordination. His ordination service in 2019 here at the Ebenezer Community Church, where he was ordained as a pastor and a music minister. And that service was another gathering of singers. But
wow.
last night, I have not seen our community singers come together like they did last night. We could talk Moses all day on this show. But let me just before we go further, when we take a break, we come back. We have the House of Representative, Director of Press, Robert Hines on the standby. Robert Hines will tell us about the opening of the final session of the House on this first term of President we as administration. He's on the standby. We will bring him in just as we take a break. But just let's take a break with this, Nathan. This tribute by Ambassador Myron Duakassel, the gospel music ambassador. I think I got a cue. Let me just bring that. When she was introduced by Sis Evelyn March, the brain behind the entire Moses burial, programming and all that. She paid a very wonderful tribute, and then she welcomed Ambassador Myron Duakassel. This was a moment to see, my brother.
He did it like it was his last day to do it. He did it with all his might. He worshiped God. Only he knew his God when it's time to minister to the songs. Before I continue, I will ask for all Liberian gospel musicians and singers in the house to please stand. Today, I am very proud to be a Liberian gospel artist. Pastor Moses lying here today, and for all this to happen, the Liberian gospel musicians and singers from all over contributed, and they made it happen. Give them a hand. We want to give God the glory. We salute you in the house today, and we want to say thank you. Thank you for standing in the gap. Thank you for sending our pastor, our fellow musician home in Grand Star. I'm going to pause because standing with me is the Liberian Gospel Ambassador. So I cannot do this by myself. She had to join me. This man lying here, music was his life. And it is only fair enough to have the Liberian Gospel Ambassador to be the last one to speak. So we want to thank God for the opportunity, and I will turn it over to her. May his soul rest in peace.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We want to be grateful. We want to be grateful to God that the son of Liberia, a star, kept the faith, ran the race to the very end. It's one thing to start. It's another thing to continue. And it's another thing to finish. want to give God the glory for his life, for the lives he impacted, for the heart he had. This man was full of wisdom and a passion to glorify the name of God through music, and not just to do it, but to do it at a higher level, which he strive for. We want to give God the glory. We know that in our view it's very short. We wanted more, but God knows best. To the family who allow him to serve the community, to serve the nation, this is a national loss. But we give God all the glory. He alone deserves the praise. In moments like these, I'll sing out a song. I'll sing out a love song to Jesus. In moments like these, I'll lift up my hands. I'll lift up my hands to the Lord, singing, I love you, Lord, singing, I love you, Lord, singing,
I tell you, that was an emotional moment, Nathan. Myron Cassell, Ambassador Myron Cassell,
Yeah.
coming through again on that one, and we just start to bring the public, exactly what we're talking about here. And I see you try, you just shaking your head. And
Yeah.
it's like, what exactly, how was a way to send him home? And if you look at the casket there, bearing the remains of Moses, dripping with our Liberian flag colors, that was a moment to see, my friend. And those of you out there, and I know the emotions, the pains that we all carry in our hearts for this brother, but that was, a barrier befitting of a hero who flew our flag so hard in what he did. And I mean, let's hear you.
I mean, yes, that's what it said. It is celebration, celebrating his life, and So they are not mourning. They know that he lived. And when I saw Maron singing hallelujah, I mean shouting, opening her mouth, it reminded me of Moses when he on that stage,
Mm-hmm.
he will yell until you see down into his
Down into
throat.
his throat. Yep. You
So
got
when I saw Myra, I just laughed. That's just how he sang.
it.
And
Mm-hmm.
active on the stage. And Myron too had her bitter past too. She lost her only daughter years back, so she know how it feels. She sings from her heart. And if you listen to Moses' mom speaking from Liberia, though she was not able to come, she started off first about asking for forgiveness from from whoever her son may have had conflict with. She said, "Yo, please forgive me," and she went on to say that her son was indeed a good person. He lived his life, though it was short. She never expected that, but she also commended the families, these friends who also supported her and the kids there for calling on her every time and for reaching out to the family. She was very much appreciative, for that. And also to his sisters, relatives, and brothers and other people paid tribute from Liberia. They could not come due to reasons, beyond their control. That was another issue. So she said she had cried enough. She will
Yep.
continue to weep because Moses was a blessing, was a blessed son. From the moment he was born, his father said, "Oh, that your Christian son there."
And wars do follow. You know, wars do follow people, and I thought that was a proclamation from his father. Looking as
Yeah,
though maybe he just said it, in passive, but the angels of God probably capitalized on that and made Moses what his father, just thought whether it was a serious thing he was saying or not. He did put it that way, and it did come to fruition. People did get to see, and I see Ambassador Rufus Divine commenting there saying, "Thanks, guys, for the conversation." And Rufus Divine Kana is a radio personality, and like, bro, this is one of those who promoted Moses. Rufus Kana, and we also see a comment here from Myron Sandy. She said, "May the Lord continue to comfort his family and children. Indeed, may the Lord continue to comfort his family and
yeah,
children." That's a moment. We could just dedicate this entire, edition of the Diaspora Talk to just talking Moses. But we had Robert Hines backstage. We hope he rejoin us. I think he just left a little bit. Once he rejoin us, he will give us or fill us in with the reopening of the House of Representatives there in Liberia, and what's expected from this sitting of the House. They did open, I understand, on Friday. Tomorrow is first official, session day. What are some of those things they got on their plates? What they're going to be talking about, and all of that. So we hope that he can rejoin us, just to brief us and fill us in with with all of those things coming out of Liberia. But indeed, it was a weekend full of memories for Moses, Ambassador Pastor Moses, there, who was laid to rest on the weekend. And I don't know, man. Like I said in my post, Nathan, that was the hardest on live onset intro I had ever done or I had to do, to talk about Moses on Saturday when we got at that church. I was on set, so I just thought to hold back, my tears and emotions, because generally you have to do what you have to do, but then again, there was a point that mhm, it could not just work for me anymore, and I know many other people thought that way as well, and
the man broke down like,
and
I
you
think
were
I saw
you,
everybody.
you were there,
Victor Joe.
you were there hiding behind the camera scenes. You were there. I know that for
Yeah.
you were there, pretending that you photographing and all of that, but we could see the emotions fill up the sanctuary where we all gather to give him his last
Yeah.
respect. So let's take
And
it. Go ahead.
oh yeah, I mean, I just was retrospecting his ex-wife was also there, asking for God guidance. She started up, I don't know how I will manage, and I will make it through, but trusting God, and she also commended people for supporting her kids, her two girls, that they will be fine. She will ask for God's guidance upon them because it is hard to raise two children in the U.S. A single mom now, So that's another issue. Relative friends from the musician union also pay tribute to Moses. They reflected on the projects together, how they got together, and his impact as the song "Keep on Trying" was his hit music, and that song is over what 10 years now, and it's still resonating with many people. I remember when I was in Liberia, that was my favorite song. I played that song all along in my office over and over and over again on CDs and everywhere.
That
Keep on
indeed
trying.
was his signature song because after he won
Star
the
is
United
born.
Nations mission in Liberia, Star is Born, that was his first song he wrote. And then he did a video. I can remember one time he was live and then encouraging people to talk about his songs. And I just went and copied the link of, the first video. He said, bro, why you have to bring that video here? I put it on here live. He like, bro, why you have to bring that video here? But when he came over to the US, he did do the song over and shot
Yeah.
a new video for that song, and that went viral as well. So it was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful one. Moses Soiree, Robert Hinn is trying to join us. Let's take this very quick break. When we come back, we will join him to talk about the House of Representatives, and then just before we wrap it up on this edition of Diaspora Talk, let's take this break with our sponsor, the Park Liquor Outlet here in Minnesota. We will be right back. Let your celebration begin with Park Liquor Outlet, your first Liberian-owned liquor store in the city of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. We have everything that you need to set that special occasion or bride. For your next party or great get-together with friends, visit Park Liquor Outlet. We have great selection of beer, wine, gin, and many more at affordable prices. Our customer service will make you always want to come back. We are open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Park Liquor Outlet, your one-stop celebration store. We are located at 6315 Zine Avenue North, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Visit us today and feel the difference. And I tell you, the Park Liquor Outlet is proud to be associated with Diaspora Talk here on KMTV, Liberia's premier online television. Ambassador Robert Hins, are you getting us live from your office there in Monrovia? Robert? It's like he's in this internet wahala again. Liberia and the internet thing. We hope that
I
we can.
mean,
Yeah, probably if we cannot get him on here with us via video, we will see whether we can connect with him, with the power of the telephone, just to fill us in. We have him waiting ever so long. Let's see whether we can get him here on the phone to talk about that of the House of Representatives, you know, reconvening on Capitol Hill for this final sitting of the first term of President George Weah, the 54th legislature, their final sitting of the 54th legislature. We hope we can get it, Robert. And somebody says, Rufus Divine Connor says, special thanks to everyone who made it possible to see our brother take his final rest with respect. Yeah, indeed. Thanks to all of those who trooped in here to Minnesota. Minnesota was the place of attraction
yeah,
over the weekend. I mean, some of our old friends we've not seen for a very long time. We're in the city,
yeah,
but yeah, Moses played the tricks, man. He pulled everybody over here, and everybody were here to see,
yeah.
pay their
I mean,
respect.
just what you said, I met like four different person who we met in high school, the other one at a computer school, and in the community where we live. They were like, "Oh, Milton, that's just like, oh," I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I flew from New Jersey. I flew from this area." I'm like, "Oh wow." So I mean, I met a lot of people who I've not seen for years,
Hmm.
and they're like, "Oh, we see you." I
And and
remember,
and and one thing that caught me, Nathan, his cousin who read the life sketch. I don't know whether you listened to that guy very keenly.
very well.
He
Yeah,
struck
he
a
said,
very, very serious point
yeah,
that
he
we as
said,
families, we
family.
don't take so important. We only get to know families at these kind of gatherings. And when he said that, Nathan, I reflected on when I had gone to Liberia to bury my dad. I had not seen my cousins for the first time in a very long time. Some of them was my very first time seeing them. Some of them who I knew from childhood, my aunts, my uncles, distant, relatives
Right,
that
yeah.
I had not seen for a long time. It was my first time seeing some of them, or I had not seen them forever. So he said, families, his family, he was speaking directly to his family and to Liberians, that we cannot just wait for somebody to die, before
Yeah.
we can show up as family, you know, to show all of the goodies we have. He said it was at that place he saw that his cousin even had two
Uh,
daughters.
to yeah.
I mean, that point of reflection, I don't know how it sank to you.
Yes, because I tell you, people mind the work, people mind selfishness, people mind, too much of busy schedule. They tend to downplay family. It is not just the first time. We see this thing always, and it's very much bad because I think you know a couple of stories. You see two first cousin with Miga, they probably have some relationship. When they go to the public gathering or family gathering, they get to know that, oh, I'm related to this person. That's how it's too late. Because these days children they don't ask too much of questions. So they get in, they see you, they won't
They're
get
already
into
there.
different things.
And,
They
and,
already then you feel why your cousin or
yeah,
your sister.
that was a point that I took away indeed from that entire
Yeah.
time. It was about families using leisure time to get to connect, get to know each other, and not when somebody dies. So that was one thing that kept pondering in my head because I experienced the same during the death of my father. But we've been joined by the Honorable Press Director of the House of Representatives, the man who speak on behalf of the 73 people there on Capitol Hill at the lower house. Robert Hines, welcome. You hearing us?
Yo, you guys, I'm following the show. You're doing very well.
Let me question me one question, please, Aaron.
Go ahead.
Which you follow the 70 lawmakers whose birthday is today?
Listen to my age representative, Carlos Moses Gray. He chairs the House's executive committee.
The House Committee on Executive. And the man get used to going to the president yet. All right, boy, you got
Oh,
there you go, whispering the president ear. And then the Senate using Sajosa to go whispering the president ear. So those are the
Yeah.
two, committees heads on executive. But Robert, it's good to have you. And I know you were one person who reached out to me just before we talk about your work on the Capitol Hill. You were one person who reached out to me and asked, brother, you're carrying Moses' funeral. And I told you, if we don't care, we'll be doing disservice to the people of Liberia. And I know you were up as late as, 2 in the morning watching.
Yes, I did, and not just me alone, because Moses was he worship of our church, the Martha Tottenham United Methodist Church, and so all of us we
Rescue the
were
person,
here for the dying.
not for self.
No,
For
not for not for not for ourselves, but for others.
yeah.
Redeeming the time,
Say that.
redeeming
All
the
right.
time, because the days are evil.
The days are evil. We gotta get it going, bro. Yeah, but let's get your own reflection just before we go into the work.
Yeah, so I mean, what can we say? We just say thanks to God. Moses played a part. He impacted so many lives, brought too many people over to know God for themselves. A certain part of his life, he started to do more like giving speeches, motivating people. Those inspirational speeches most time was meant to encourage others to believe in themselves. So apart from just preaching and ministering through songs, Moses imparted the word, not just us as Liberians and Africans, but the word in totality. And we saw that people gave their own testimony from across the world, from Ghana, Nigeria, some of the very musicians that he had on some of his songs. I mean, like, he cut across, and we just again use this time to say condolence to the family and also to celebrate his homegoing because he died in Christ, and that's the most significant part.
Yeah, as Christians, that's what we all want, dying, knowing that we are going somewhere. And when you listen to his ministering of doing his songs and all of that, he really put himself in Christ. And like Nathan said, one of his friends during her tribute said almost wanted to be a pastor, and she was glad that he achieved that before
Right.
that. And I can proudly say that I watched him getting ordained as a pastor, and that shows that he's with his Father in heaven,
Oh
and
yeah.
and indeed we're all going to see on one that great getting up morning. But on the
Yeah.
flip
On the resurrection morning,
side,
when the bell shall have been rung,
yeah, so indeed,
we'll
so
be able
indeed.
to see each other again.
So on the flip side, the House of Representatives, the 54th, right?
Yes, 54th.
Yeah, I know I used to cover that place, so I probably still got the numbers in my head. So now tell us, you spokesperson of the 54th, especially the House of Representatives, tell us, you guys are open for the final session. Is it the final? Am I right?
Definitely you are. So we call it the tail quarters. So now that what is it, because we have it, not just it's not the last, but this is for this fifth section is the third quarter.
Okay.
So that came in when an act to repeal the act to amend section 1 of the act fixing the day for annual adjournment happened. So now it creates a situation where we have 3 constituency breaks
Mm.
instead of 2. So the first one happened during the Easter in March, and then we return in May to October. Then we now come back in October to receive the budget, because now we run a calendar year budget. So returning the second Friday, this coming Friday, the second Friday in October, officially the house open, and we will be on tomorrow, Tuesday. Today was leadership as usual. Tuesday is a day to go in the chamber. So tomorrow, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, being the head of the legislature, he will be able to make a formal speech on the third quarter of this fifth section of the 54th legislature.
So that would be a joint session, right?
It is not going to be a joint section. There is going to be for the end of the house, people, the house will gather in the chamber, and then the Senate people will have to go to their chamber and have. It is not, it is not like the formal one where the beginning of is beginning of a section. This is just the third quarter of the fifth section. So the fifth section continues. The last, like you were mentioning, the last section will be the sixth section, which will be the final one of the government of President George Weah first term. So that will be in January. January will be the final sitting.
Okay, that's when we expect to have the gavels knocked for for a new induction in order. I mean, or leading to the final year before election. Now, tell us, what are some of those things that your bosses are returning to?
Too many things, Cyrus. But already, let me just update you that while we were on break, the leadership of the House of Representatives have been very concerned, have been very engaged with rice importers. As you know, there have been reported shortage of rice on the market. We saw Liberians complain to their deputies, to their lawmakers about, look, we're being forced to purchase goods other than rice before we are allowed to buy rice, and we don't have rice on the market. So those were concerns coming up to the lawmakers. So for that, they had to summon importers of rice to ascertain for them, they first to know whether or not it was preconditioned to buy other goods before getting rice, as being concerned, as those concerns came from Liberians. Second was to know the availability of rice on the market. So we had the K&K, we had UCR, we have SWAT, we have Fuanin Brothers, we have FUTA. They came in a meeting. So the lawmakers asked them those questions coming up from Liberians. First, they said no, they were not forcing people to purchase goods other than rice as a precondition. Then the aspect came about the availability of rice on the market. Some mentioned, especially for Fuanin Brothers, said they have few of thousands of bags of rice, which is not enough. All right. So the speaker, Dr. Chambers, said, look, but why would we say that the rest is not enough? And knowing that the consumption, Liberians eat rice as our staple food. What we need to do to make sure that we have this problem solved? And they came in to basically speak individually from their perspective and said, look, the government consented to giving subsidy and stuff like that, and the subsidy was coming slower. So then the speaker said, but then you're needed to also come over to the legislature, so we're able to have this conversation and see where where we can come in to maybe reinforce it with the end of from the end of the legislature to the executive, so that the issue about the subsidy can come. But you have to play your part so that we don't have our people to suffer.
Yeah, because as it stands, the people feel that you know, with the huge announcement of appropriation of $11 million to subsidize, the work of importers, and it is not triggering down to the direct beneficiaries, our people who were on the lines in different quarters over the last couple of weeks to fetch rice wherever they could hear that there is rice here. There is a huge group there. So with this, can we say that the dust is not settled as it relates to the importers and the legislators?
Well, definitely, I cannot just head on say it's been settled, but mitigation efforts being made for the end of the House of Representatives. You saw the Speaker, he himself, along with some members of his delegation, took on to a field trip. They went on to see in warehouses to meet these people, and we saw Liberians, of course, yes, because the speaker said, "Look, we don't need to sit down anymore. We need to get out to know what our people feel on a daily basis. They mention pinch they feel." So they got out there, and we went and we saw at the Clariton branch of Fulani Brothers. Liberians were out there on the line, and so he managed to ask what we're actually attaining, whether or not these people are being served, how the process is on go. So they managed to say they were serving 200 persons per day, and the speaker said, "No, that is too small. You can't do that." So he needed to he talk to them that they need to increase it from 200 to 500, and then the processes leading to you being served. If you, for instance, if you are Joel Business Center and you are a dealer of rice, they sold to you today. You don't have to come back tomorrow. Others got to be served. So those were some of what being discussed, and last Wednesday effectively started to go on, and people started being served, and they themselves started to commend the legislature for the decision taken.
So apart from the rice issue, what are other things that we expect the legislature to kind of deliberate on in the soonest possible time?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, coming in October, specifically is there to be able to look at to receive the budget, the draft national budget, for discussion. Look at where we need to do what we need to do to keep the country running, and also too, there are a couple of other concessions that need to do. They need rectification. Some need revision. One of the agreement that is going to be reviewed, as the speaker mentioned, it is the APN terminal agreement. It has been a couple of times, it have not been reviewed. And so, because now as we speak, while we were discussing this issue about the rest, some of the importers were clear in that meeting where we had Mr. Jonathan Graham, who is the general manager of APN terminals. He was in that meeting, and the importer said some of the reason why they have not been able to get in rest coming in is because of the port has not been dredged, and they can't have bigger vessels coming into the port. So the lawmakers turned over strict to the APN terminal man, asking them what's going on. The port had not been dragged. So the APN terminal general manager, Mr. Graham, said the MPA and them, they have agreed that the APN terminal will do the dredging of the port. They have done some feasibility studies, and it's going to be completed by December. So we'll look to have bigger vessels coming after the portion have been dredged. But now, only smaller vessels are coming. So the speaker said we need to be able to review the contract. We need to be able to review the contract of our APN terminal and several other construction companies. As you know, currently, the horse is probing Bear Mountain. We've gone to Bear Mountain on 2 different occasions and to make sure we know whether or not, because complaints have come from the workers there that the company is not living up to the Mineral Development Agreement, and the reported bad labor practices ongoing there.
Okay.
So the House is looking at all of these things. The entire concession regime needs to be reviewed. Those that need rectification need to be rectified, and so that the people can feel the impact.
All
You
right.
cannot, for instance, Ape and Beer Mountain is a mining company. They had no business facing mineral water, but what the lawmakers were able to observe is that they went and started facing their own mineral water without labor on it. That's a violation. They needed not to do that. So they are currently on probe. The House is currently probing them, and all of these things will come to fruition. Every step along the way will get the public in the know, and the complaint raised against them by the workers' union. All of these things are being looked into. The issue about the healthcare, the issue about school, the social corporate responsibility that need to see where they have to build instead of clinic to upgrade it to hospital, and then also the legislature, particularly the House, is concerned that we need to have representatives of the Liberian government there, like from LRA, from the Ministry of Labor, to know the quantity, or from the Ministry of Mines and Energy to know the quantity of gold that leave the country, because we feel cheated.
Okay, so
Right.
that's a very major issue indeed, and we hope to keep following you guys. Let us know whenever there is something that the public needs to know. Is there any other thing you wanted to touch on as we wrap it up?
Just to be able to keep the public in the know that this legislature, under the stewardship of Dr. Buffer Chambers, is very serious to make sure that the interests of the masses of our people will never be compromised. We're working day and night to make sure that issue of national concern will come to fruition. Liberians, whatever you hear and know, this is where we are. It's an open legislature where you can petition your lawmakers on issues that you think are happening that should not be happening, and they will act. They are the people's deputies. And I have said consistently that the lawmakers here are ready and prepared to work in the interest of this country. Whether you call them in the day, whether it be in the night, they are here on a daily basis to sacrifice. And because they've been elected by their people, they will serve diligently.
Thank you so much, Robert. And we hope to connect with you. Like I said, there's any other thing we want to follow up with. We know you always open your arms to responding to those issues. But we wish you all the best on Capitol Hill.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the good job you people continue to do for our country, informing them globally about issues from back home and also across the world. You're doing a very awesome job. Prosperity will judge all of us. Thank you very much.
All right, my brother. Thank you. Robert Hintz, he's the director of press at the House of Representatives. They're filling us in with the House returning to Capitol Hills. What are some of those issues? And he talked about the budget that is expected to be looked at and passed for the upcoming fiscal year, the issue of Beer Mountain, the rice and importer issue, and all of that. But on this note, I'd like to wrap it up on this edition of Diaspora Talk. We've been here on this Monday. I'm alone today. My colleague Nathan Charles, joined us from home, but he had to leave a little bit earlier. My producer Victor Dubber also had a special appointment today, so I had to just do it my way, and I hope I did it the best for you out there. We talked Moses Soiree, who we honor on the weekend, Pastor Moses, who went home to be with the Lord. We did talk about him and this startling revelation from his family that he did not die of suicide, as was speculated, or not speculated, but as was reported in a police report, after he died, and he had a befitting burial of a king on the weekend. Thanks to all of you who followed us live, who shared our videos, and we had a lot of commendation coming from you all. We are here. That's what we do, to bring to you to serve the community. We are situated right here in Brooklyn Center at 5901 Brooklyn Boulevard, Brooklyn Center, where our studio and offices are. So you can walk in here at any time, and make sure the numbers on the screen there. You can call us if you think you want us to do a little business for you, promotion to promote to the public here, our viewers and followers, your goods and services you trade. If you are a business person, we can do that. But until Wednesday, when I'm here along with my colleague Nathan Charles on a fresh edition of Diaspora Talk, I'd like to say have yourself a wonderful, wonderful time. Let's leave you with this one.
In grand style. We send him home like the music man he was. And glory be to God. Since Abel had just one thing to
say, and then Pastor King will give the benediction. Thank you, thank you, thank you. No, that's not in there. I had an autopsy done on Moses. The cops have said that Moses committed suicide. I'm sure we all heard that. The autopsy revealed that he did not commit suicide. Hallelujah. We got work to do, that's all I can say.
That the son of Liberia was starved. Kept the faith, ran the race to the very end. It's one thing to start. It's another thing to continue. And it's another thing to finish. We want to give God the glory for his life, for the lives he impacted, for the heart he had. This man was full of wisdom and a passion to glorify the name of God through music, and not just to do it, but to do it at a higher level which he strived for. We want to give God the glory. We know that in our view it's very short. We wanted more, but God knows best. To the family who allowed him to serve the community, to serve the nation, this is a national loss. But we give God all the glory. He alone deserves the praise. In moments like these, I'll sing out a song. I'll sing out a love song to Jesus. In moments like these, I'll lift up my hands
Let your celebration begin with Park Liquor Outlet, your first Liberian-owned liquor store in the city of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. We have everything that you need to set that special occasion or bride. For your next party or great get-together with friends, visit Park Liquor Outlet. We have great selection of beer, wine, gin, and many more at affordable prices. Our customer service will make you always want to come back. We are open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Park Liquor Outlet, your one-stop celebration store. We are located at 6315 Zine Avenue North, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Visit us today and feel the difference. Hit the news.
What is it?
When the issues of Liberia hit the news,
What is it that we, the Liberian people, want?
the Liberian communities in the diasporas are not left out. That's why Diaspora Talk is back on your screens on KMTV.
Infatti United Party is not cohesive.
Be it social, political, economic, and other issues affecting Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
I did not expect to even make it to Hollywood.
Joan Cyrus McGee and Nathan Charles every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on KMTV, Facebook, and YouTube.
I want to be arrested in the midst of my people.
As they discuss the issues blending the voices from Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
The Liberian Business Association in the diaspora should be used as a vehicle for economic development in Liberia because no country can develop without a diaspora impact.
For sponsorship, call cell numbers 612-806-5896, 816-433-3979, or better still, email us at usakmtv@gmail.com. Diaspora Talk, from this house.